How is everyone? Can you understand me? All right. I'm overwhelmed. First of all, I would like to thank the university and the Foreign Affairs Office for helping me to get here and arranging all this. Special thank you to Chelsea, Jason, for helping with the translation and setting everything up. Of course, thank you to all of you for being here. I did not expect so many. In case you're wondering, the reason I'm doing this, when I was a teacher here about a year and a half ago, I had some medical problems and had to be rushed back to America. And so many people here, more than I can count, were so friendly and so helpful to me. So this is just a way for me to say thank you for everything you did for me. So I'd like to begin by asking, who is nervous about leaving school and having to get a job? Yeah, I was too. And no one ever told me what to do, what I should do. And for many years I struggled early in my career. So I hope some of what I've put together for you tonight is from myself and from others that I've met in my life and in business, such as a good friend who is a vice president of an import and export business in Beijing, a recruiting manager in Shanghai, some former managers in America, and my father, who's the vice president of human resources, now retired. So hopefully, I hope you find this useful. I'm more comfortable standing out here, so I hope you don't mind. Don't be nervous, don't be shy. Before we talk about interviews, resumes, strategies, you have to focus on yourself. And the very first slide is the most important thing in the whole process: confidence. You have to have confidence in yourself. This whole process is sales. Whether you think you like sales or not, to get a job, you have to sell yourself. You have to. There's no choice. And people that you will meet that will hire you, they're very smart people. They have experience. They will know if your confidence is real or not, or if you're just acting. First of all, be proud of who you are. So many students think, I haven't done anything yet in my life. I'm just in college. You have to, in order to have confidence, you have to look at where you come from. You're not just a farmer, not just whatever your job is. I used to clean toilets. I did that. But it helps make me who I am. So be proud of it. You're not just somebody. You are, your background, your knowledge is because of what you've done. So be proud of it. It's okay. Can everyone see this okay? Sorry, I'm moving away a little bit. We will give you information at the end, some email addresses, so this can be emailed to you along with the whole, many more words. So how do we build confidence? You just can't say, okay, I'm going to be confident, and that's it. Now I'm confident. It's not that simple. It's a process. You have to do it every day, just a little bit. It's how you choose to look at things. Every Chinese student, whether here in Loudi, Beijing, Shanghai, every student says, I'm so sorry, my English is very poor. It's not. Your English is better than my Chinese. I understand you. It's not your native language. You're not going to be perfect. And the only way to get better is to do it, to try it. So don't say, I'm poor at this. You have to think to yourself, Maybe I'm not where I want to be. How can I get better? I want to improve. I know there's some cultural things about being modest. Don't be modest anymore. It's okay. You want to get better. One thing to remember in this whole process, you can do everything right. Have a perfect resume. Give the perfect answers in an interview, and you still will not get the job. That's okay. That's okay. It's not personal. We're so afraid of rejection. We want to be shy because it's safe. We won't get rejected if we're shy. We don't put ourselves out there. You have to take a bit of a risk. You're going to hear no many, 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 many times. You're going to hear yes once or twice. Every time you hear no, you don't go, oh, and cry and say, nobody likes me. Every time you hear no, that's an opportunity. Because people like myself, I used to do interviews. If I didn't select somebody, it doesn't mean I don't like them as a person. It means I didn't think they were the best fit for our company. And that's good. That means you're a better fit somewhere else. Because if you start a job where you're not a good fit, you won't be happy. And you do not want to start your career being unhappy. Trust me. Because then you change jobs many, many, many times. So once we develop our attitude, we got to do this every day. We do something, what I call a self-inventory. Shops do an inventory. Stores, they count how many products they have in their store. So your self-inventory, what do you have right now? What do you have in terms of your education, your experience? And remember, you're not just. Be proud of your experience. And write these things down. It's so important to put it onto paper. Be organized. And you see it. Because when you see it, that's how employers see it. Write it down. Then ask yourself and think, what do you truly want in your life and in your career? I would guess many students say I want to be married by age 25, definitely by 30. A child, a responsible husband who makes lots of money so I can go shopping. But what's your real, what do you want? And again, make this list. And in everything I'm talking about, be specific. Don't be broad. To say, well, I want to be happy. Okay, but specific. So, I want this job. I want to do this. Be specific. Write it down. And it's okay to change your list. Because as we grow and get older, we have experience that changes us. And we learn. So you should always be updating your list, always be updating your resume throughout your career, even if you're not looking for a new job. Who makes lots of money so I can go shopping? But what's your real, what do you want? And again, make this list, and in everything I'm talking about, be specific. Don't be broad. To say, well, I want to be happy. Okay, but specific. So, I want this job. I want to do this. Be specific. Write it down. And it's okay to change your list. Because as we grow and get older, we have experience that changes us. And we learn. So you should always be updating your list, always be updating your resume throughout your career, even if you're not looking for a new job. When companies put an advertisement for a job, and many of you, the jobs you are going to be applying for are what we call entry level. So you're going to be down here. You're not going to be the president of the company on day one. I'm sorry. So entry level, you're going to have lots of competition. So the hiring person like myself is going to get hundreds, maybe thousands of resumes and applications. So the first thing that I'm doing, because I'm very busy, is I'm going to look for reasons not to hire you, not to interview you. I want to get rid of your resume and focus my time on the people I'm more interested in. A way that I do that is I look for red flags. These are reasons I'm not going to hire you. And it's different for every job, for every company, even just the personality of the hiring manager. Red flags, everyone has them. It's okay. So we have to know what they are. What do you think, right now, what is your red flag all of you have? What is a reason for me not to hire you? Not your poor English. No experience. So what we have to do is we have to take our red flag, which is something negative, and we have to make it a positive. We have to sell it as a benefit for the company. How in the heck can no experience be a positive? When you sell it, you're young, you have lots of energy. And yes, you're not going to require as high of a salary as a more experienced person. That's reality, I'm sorry. The other very important part is that if I'm someone with 10 years experience and I've worked and learned a system at another company, and I go to a new company, I have to relearn everything. You don't. It'll be easier and cost the company less money to train you than someone with different experience. Remember, just because someone has experience doesn't mean they're the better candidate. What's important is what kind of experience. You also have experience. Maybe not at that job or that career, but you'll get it. So one example, talk about some strategies. We call them job fairs. These are when companies come to the university. Do companies come to this university? Yeah. Your goal, you're not going to meet these companies to get a job. You're not going to get a job. Your goal is to get an interview for a job. Why? Because the companies do not send the decision makers to these job fairs. The person who's going to make the decision to hire you will most likely not be here. So you have to impress the person that's here so that they can recommend you then to the manager and for the interview. Don't give yourself more stress. So make your goal just to get the interview. In the beginning I said this whole process is about sales. You are selling yourself. Well, one of the things about sales, in my background, I sold cars, was we have to give value. We have to, how are we different? If I'm this store, and there's a store here and a store here, how do I convince the customer not to go there? I don't want to be bad or rude about their products, but how am I different? How are you different? Are you going to give the same answers everybody else is going to give? And that's exactly right. You have to focus, be different, be specific. Numbers are specific. For example, if I say, I worked at a large company, that's broad. Large is my opinion. But if I give the name of the company, I worked at China Mobile. Now we know. If I say, I was in charge of employees, that's okay. But better is, I was in charge of 12 employees. I was in charge of 50 employees. I worked on a team with 5 students to complete a project. Specific numbers are very important. In resume, talking about yourself and your background. Numbers, names, very, very important. So when you're going to these job fairs, you should have a list of the companies coming. Research, research, research. Always, every single day, even if there's not a job fair. You're always researching companies. What kind of jobs do they want? Is that truly a job that you fit with? If your goal is only, I just need a job, I don't care what it is, I just need a job, you're not going to be real happy. You're just going to, for the first 10 years of your career, you're going to keep saying, I just need a job, I just need a job, I just need a job. It's not a good way to go through your career. So a job fair, it's a great opportunity. When you leave university, you will not get this opportunity. And that's to meet someone from the company face to face right away. They don't have a chance to say, we don't like your resume, we're not calling you. This is a great opportunity. Selling yourself, different, a very good first impression. Now, I'm a little embarrassed. I should have worn a shirt and tie tonight. This is a professional, but I knew I'd be sweating so much. So I apologize. And strong body language. Now, this is a little bit different in cultures, but in most cultures, you shake a hand and it's always looking in the eye. It's not looking down. It's not, here's my resume. And then at the very beginning, I talked about confidence. Your body says if you're confident or not. Are you standing straight? And I don't care what country in the world, what culture, a smile means the same thing. In every culture, every language. It's something I call positive energy. We are attracted to positive energy from others every day of our lives. We like to be around people who are positive more than who are negative. I don't want to be around a person who just complains. This is bad, that's bad. They're no good, that's no good. That's negative. I don't like that. I want positive. When you're there, ask questions. Don't just say, here's my resume. Hi. Ask questions. Be different. Be confident. If you're not confident, you're not going to have the strength to ask questions. And asking questions tells the person, wow, they're smart. They've done some research. They're motivated. They're hardworking. I like this person. After the job fair, and I just want to make a note, I have not put resume in the script tonight. I thought it might take too much time. But the resume portion, I do have tips for writing your resume if you want to email. So you'll have that information at the end of the speech. Again, when you get to the interview, first impression. I've said it twice. That's because it's very important. Great body language, very important. When I've got 300 people applying for a job, I simply don't have time to listen to everything you say, look at and read everything you write. My decisions are made very, very quickly. I decide whether I like somebody, I decide if I'm going to hire somebody very quickly. Many times before they even said a word. Let me repeat that. And I'm not alone in this. I've talked to many, many managers who all agree. It's about 95%. Make a decision before the person speaks. That's how important first impressions are. Because when we talk, one of the reasons is whether you're talking to your friends, listening to me right now, at best you'll remember 5 to 7% of what I say. You only remember 5 to 7% of a conversation. We remember body language. Hopefully you remember me smiling more than you remember anything that I said. Most of you will. That's how our brains work. So we want positive body language. Always be smiling. Even if you are nervous, smile. Even if you are very, very scared, smile. And relax. They know you're going to be nervous. It's okay if you are nervous. Just Practice with me. Excellent. Excellent. During the interview, don't be in a chair moving around and, well, yeah. Good body language. Sit still. Focus. Attention. They want attention. Have you ever heard of attention to detail? It's paying attention to all the details, the small things. That's very important to a company. If you're going to be negotiating a contract, if you're handling money, I want to trust you. I'm not going to trust you if you're not good with the details. If you're not hardworking. If you're not focused. So the most important part of the interview is the first 1 minute. Maybe 10, 20 seconds. That's the most important part. Good body language. Dress. Men, no exceptions. I don't care if you're interviewing at KFC. You wear a shirt and tie. All the time. Again, I apologize for not. Women. Business suit. Pants. Nice shirt. Only a dress. Only if you just don't have the resources for a proper business attire. But always look professional. Be clean. No mistakes. Because that's a red flag. You have to be perfect. It's a lot of pressure. But if you practice every day, it actually becomes pretty easy. It becomes your habit. You have lots of time to prepare. Right now. Start every day. So, most interviews, you walk in, you do the introduction, you sit down. Almost 85% of the time they will say, tell me about yourself. Wow. What do I say? There's 20 years of life. For me, a little bit more. Where do I begin? I don't want to tell your whole life story. In interviews, when you're answering a question, don't talk too long. Don't talk too short. So this question, about 2 to 3 minutes. You don't want to say exactly what's on your resume. I have your resume. I don't need to know that. Tell me something else. If you have more numbers, great. If you have more names, excellent. But very brief. And these are things you practice. So when you get to the interview, you don't want long pauses. If they ask a question, that's bad. When you pause, that means you don't know. That means you're not confident. Practice so that you don't have these pauses. Many times it's not that I don't want to say I don't care, but most important to me is how you respond, how you answer, not exactly what you say. There are some other questions that you can prepare for. Maybe a question will be, tell me about a time you worked on a team project. Again, if you are there, let me see, a team project. You're not prepared. You're not confident. And that transfers to me listening. So these are things you start right now. And again, I don't care about the project. It doesn't matter how big, how small. Well, yeah, we were on a team project. I was on a team with 4 other people. Our goal was to establish a budget for a pretend company that sold steel. And we developed a budget. And my job was to determine the prices of the materials. And it took us about 6 weeks, and everybody did it, and we received a good mark on it. Slow, not too fast, comfortable, confident. If you're confident, if you are comfortable, the person listening to you will be. So think of different situations they can ask you about. Team projects are a great one. What is the time you had a problem? Tell me about a customer that was very mean to you, or that you had to struggle with. How did you handle it? Don't try too many students and too many people will pause because they think, oh, I want to come up with the best answer. I want the best story to tell. Never lie, so don't tell a story that's not true. But again, don't focus on the best. Focus on, okay, relax, say it smoothly, be comfortable. That is so much more important than the actual story itself and the actual answer. So right now, all of you here, you're at university, Hunan University of Humanities, Science, and Technology. What can you start doing right now? Even if you don't graduate for 1 or 2 more years, there are things you can do right now every day. One, of course, is confidence. Practicing the questions on the interview. In class, become a leader. Don't be shy. If you're going to be shy in class, you're going to be shy in the job interview. You're going to be shy at a job fair. It's going to be very uncomfortable for you. So practice every day. Raise your hand in class. When the teacher asks a question, be the first one. Try. Try, try, try. Be active. Don't sit. Don't be shy. Don't be quiet. Many times a teacher might get called from an employer saying, hey, professor, do you remember this student? Was he or she a good student? I don't know. They were very quiet. I never noticed them. Or I can have a professor that says, oh yeah, Joe, he was always raising his hand, very active, great questions. Be noticed. It's a little different in Chinese culture versus my culture, and Dan's culture. But modesty is very important in this culture. I like that. But this is a time where you have to be a little different, and it's good. We want to be different in a good way, not different in a bad way. Different in a good way. We have to go outside our comfort zone every day. We have to do things we're not comfortable with. Like coming to a speech and standing. Thank you for standing. We have to do what's not comfortable. We have to talk to strangers. In high school and college, I was more shy than anybody here. I could not talk to anybody. I didn't know how. I was scared they would reject me, that I was scared they would not like me. But when I did it, it took me many years to understand that the reason was I really didn't like myself. I wasn't confident in Joe. It's a little better now. So every day, start being confident in yourself. Start talking to strangers. Talking to your professors. Talking to, if you have a job, talking to your coworkers. Asking questions. So much of communication in our lives is not talking, it's listening. Asking questions and listening. We learn so much more. You've done a great job at the university, and you've learned a lot, but you've got a lot more to learn. One of the best stories, one of the best things I see at my job in Shanghai, I'm a teacher and I teach adults. We have an 86-year-old student. 86 at a beginner level. He can't talk to me or the other foreign teachers, but he smiles every day. He tries. He's getting better. That is so much inspiration for everybody else. That is just great. You're never too old to learn. 86 years old. He's seen a lot. He knows a lot. I think I'm a smart guy, but I'm smart enough to know I don't know everything. And he's the same way. He knows. He wants to learn more. He's listening. He's trying. Yeah, is everybody staring at him? Of course. He doesn't care. He's confident. That's great to see. One thing to remember, if you do nothing, nothing will happen. That I do know. If you do nothing, nothing will happen. If you wait for somebody to come to you, oh hey, I want to give you this great job. It pays 1 million RMB a year. Here you go. It's great when we're sleeping and dreaming about, but it's not real. Guanxi. Guanxi. Sorry if my pronunciation is. What? How do you say it? Guanxi. Relationships. We don't have tones in English, okay? Guanxi is very, very important. Relationships. We call it networking. You build your network. People that you know. Now, many years ago, it used to be that, okay, maybe I could collect business cards. And then if I need a job, I simply will call these people. I don't know them very well, but I have their business card. Now that's not good enough. You have to build a relationship. And it's not just to get a job, but to learn. These people can help you with clients, with sales, so many things. And you can start that now. You don't have to wait till you're working to start your network. Start now. You're going to have professors, any managers you have, colleagues, people like myself, Daniel, you. When you're traveling, maybe you're on the bus or train, airplane, sitting next to somebody. Uh-oh, stranger. I'm getting nervous, I don't want to talk. Uh-oh, I'm shy. Oh, he's wearing a suit, or she looks professional, and, How do we talk to people? How do we do this? It's one thing to say you have to talk to strangers, but if I don't tell you how, I'm not helping you. Whenever we talk, I said to ask questions. So you don't want to introduce yourself to somebody, just tell them everything about you. Hi, I'm Joe, I'm feeling really good today. Yeah, I'm from Shanghai, I'm from the Loudi. You haven't asked me anything, you haven't said anything. That's not a good conversation. That's not a conversation. Hi, I'm Joe. What's your name? How are you? What do you do? Sometimes we're scared to talk to strangers because we don't know what to talk about. What should I say to them? When you're thinking of a topic, there's one topic we all know a lot about. We're experts on one topic, and that's ourselves. We know a lot about us. And human nature, there's studies that have shown this. We like to talk about ourselves. So when you're meeting a stranger, the best topic, the most comfortable, is ask them questions about them. So they talk about themselves. What do you do for a living? Oh, how long have you been there? What do you like about your job? Start the conversation. And we ask what I call open-ended questions, not close-ended. So I don't want to ask, do you like your job? Yes, no. There's only two words to say. I want to say, what do you like about your job? Why do you like your job? Broad answer. And we listen. And then we have a conversation. They should ask us questions. If they don't want to talk, that's okay. If they don't answer your questions and they're being rude, don't say, oh, they don't like me. If that happens, it's not a problem with you, it's a problem with them. It's their problem. You keep being confident and keep talking to strangers, because you're great. You've got a plan. You've got a goal. You're going to get there. So you talk to strangers. At the end, make sure you can get some contact information. Hey, do you mind? Hey, thanks for the conversation. I appreciate your insight. Can I get your email address? Can I send you my resume sometime? I would love some feedback. And trust me, people with experience, people like myself, we love that. We love to see, we call it initiative, motivation. We love to see that. Younger people say, can I do this? Absolutely, I want to help you. We do. Don't. Any of my former students here, I always used to say this, don't be shy. Well, we could make this song. Less SMS, less QQ. In talking to my friend in Beijing, the managers in Shanghai, business people in America, all of them say one of their biggest frustrations now is people don't know how to talk face-to-face anymore. They don't know how to talk face-to-face. Face-to-face is the best communication because we can see body language. We see emotions. We can look into the eyes. We can't do that when our heads are down. I can't get over when I see 4 friends and they're not talking, they're just texting. That's not healthy. We can debate whether that's right or wrong. That's not the topic. It's just not healthy. We want to develop our skills, our talking skills. If you want to get better, we have to do what's not comfortable. We like to SMS, we like to QQ, because we don't have, it's not that we don't want to see the person, they don't get to see us, so we feel safe. There's less chance of rejection if they don't see us. That's why we love internet and SMS. But if you want to build that confidence, start talking face-to-face more often. Please. It will be a way that you are different from all the hundreds and thousands of others applying for the same job. Start practicing conversation face-to-face. If you are studying English, be that leader. Say to your group of friends, okay, we're at dinner, let's for 10 minutes talk in English. Yes, everyone else is going to look at you and say, wait, you're Chinese, why are you speaking English? So what? You are trying to get better, that's your focus. So don't be shy. Just try. Current events, this is so important. I can't emphasize enough. Most of us don't have newspapers anymore, but reading about news on the internet. And not just, we want to know everything, not just Loudi, Hunan, but China, Asia, the world. Go to more than one website. And do this every day. It doesn't take 1 or 2 hours. And yes, you do have time. Even my students who are professionals, when they tell me, oh, we don't have time, you do. You have 10 or 20 minutes every day. Because many of them are at work on the internet, playing around. You have time. This comes in so handy. At a job interview, maybe the person you're meeting with is going to have some informal questions first. If you can show that you know what's happening in the world, if you know what's happening in your industry, that is very important and will make a huge first impression. You have to know what's going on in the world. Politics, money, not just entertainment, not just what movie star is getting married or what movie star is getting divorced. That's not so important. But educate yourself. And all of these things I'm telling you, I can't do them for you. Your teachers can't do it for you. Your parents cannot do it for you. You have to do it. You make a choice every day. Okay, I'm going to be active in class today. I'm going to leave my cell phone at my dormitory. Don't be afraid to leave your cell phone out of class. You're going to focus on class. You're focusing on getting a job, on starting your career the right way. Focus on listening. Focus on reading current events. So once we go through all that, maybe it's a 1 or 2 year process, we finally get our job. So many people start their career. They quit, they change a job after 6 months, and then another 6 months they change again. And, well, their boss wasn't good, and they don't know what they're doing, and this is bad, and that's bad. Don't be focusing on what we don't like. Be patient. Anytime you learn a new skill, like English, you won't be an expert right away. When you get that job, you're not going to be the CEO or the owner right away. It takes time. Ask questions of your coworkers. Respect those who have been there a while. Stay at least 2 years, not 1, but 2. Even if it's difficult, you're learning. Maybe you're learning what not to do. That's also very important. Because if we keep changing jobs, maybe after 5, 6, 7 years, we have 7 years of experience, but it's all 1 year of the same experience. And that's not so good. That's not different. That's a red flag. That's actually one of my red flags. And I know you don't want to hear this, but salary is not important, or the most important thing. Everybody wants money, money, money. I can tell you one thing from my life, and what I've learned, no one is ever happy with the amount of money they have. No one feels that they have enough money. Right now for you, experience is going to be your salary. And don't try to negotiate a really high salary because you can't because of supply and demand. But it's going to be motivation. Start here and say, okay, now I have a goal. In 6 months I want to be at this salary level. I want to achieve this promotion. Don't focus on the money, or you're going to struggle in your career. So to conclude, getting a job is sales. You are selling yourself. Be different in a good way. Do what's not comfortable. Do what you don't know. It will not be easy. Success is very hard work. There is no such thing as get rich quick. And you do it every day. Every day. Little things. Be proud to be from this university. I remember many students thought they were unhappy because they thought they failed their college entrance exam. By being here, they weren't very happy. You can't change it. You can't go back and take the test again. This is the best university in China because you're here. And because I'm here. And finally, if that 5% of my words you remember this. If you think you're going to fail, you will. If you think you will succeed, you will. This is a difficult process. As I said, you can do everything right and still be told no. That's okay. But if you do it, if you're confident, the more you do it every day, the easier it becomes in anything. When we step outside our comfort zone, the more time we spend outside doing things we're not comfortable with, the more comfortable it becomes. It's really crazy. And keep things simple, don't make it too difficult. So, for a copy of the speech, the PowerPoint, I also have a Word document typed out. You can email Cindy or the Foreign Affairs Office. And I don't know if you can see it, but I have my personal email at the bottom. I will be very honored for any questions you have, now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 3 years from now. Just tell me who you are. But I'm very honored to help you. All of your bosses, all your teachers will be honored to help you. jcos15@yahoo.com is my personal email. Foreign Affairs, IEC207@yahoo.com.cn. Thank you so much for letting me talk, and thank you for listening very attentively. If you have questions, Jason, Chelsea are going to come around with microphones, and I will try to answer any questions you have right now. Thank you.
现在是提问题的这个互动环节，大家有什么问题先举手，然后我把麦克风带过来 ，OK？
I was wondering that if we graduate from our college school, so how do you recommend us if we are going to go to the large city or just small city? You know, maybe some large city we will have more opportunities, right? But we can also have a lot of pressures there. So, where is the best place for us to go?
Great question, and not an easy answer. The best place is what's best for you. For example, I live in Shanghai. Very big city. Big city, lots of companies, Chinese companies, international companies, lots of opportunities. But there is stress. Yeah, you make more money, but it costs more to live there.
Yeah. Just like the buildings, no, the houses there, the house prices there is very expensive.
Very expensive, yeah, in big cities, and that's all over the world. In big cities in America, house prices are very expensive. So, my advice is, there's one word that I will use in everything, it's called balance. Because many people will say, oh, I'm going to give up everything, my family, my friends, I'm moving to the big city, I want this dream of a big job and big money. And I will tell you the truth, many of my students in Shanghai complain, they say, I work, work, work. I have no time for friends, I have no time for family, I have no time to go home at New Year. I have no time to go home for Labor's Day. They're not real happy. So, in the beginning when I talked about self-inventory, what are things you want? Is family important to you? Are your friends?
Not fame. We just need some experience, you know.
There are many opportunities in the smaller cities too. Now it requires maybe a little more work. Maybe you have to do something that we call in sales cold calling. Call a company, call a store, say, hi, I'm Emily. I'm a recent student of business English. Do you have any jobs available? Oh, wow, that sounds difficult. We have to call somebody who doesn't know we're calling, they don't know us, and we're going to be nervous, and that's okay. But that's a little extra work. So there are opportunities everywhere, especially in China.
Oh, so that you recommend us we can still work in just Loudi? In some small cities?
Not just Loudi. Loudi. Be proud of it. Loudi.
I wonder if we should further experience in small companies.
Whether the company is big or small, it's easier. Maybe easy is not the right word because it's work. But maybe people will notice you, your boss or managers, if you're a smaller group, a smaller company. At a big company, maybe they don't see you, but there's more opportunities. So it's not an easy question, again, with the direct answer of yes or no, small or large. What's the best fit for you? What is your goal? There's advantages to both. When you're making a lot of these decisions about your career, about your life, always make a list. Something we call pros and cons. Why should I? Why shouldn't I? What's good? What's bad? These lists help us make decisions, point it out. Now if you're having troubles with the list, then you ask questions. But in terms of small versus large, some of my best experiences were at a smaller company. Most of my experience was at a company where it was brand new. And for my business background, that's very exciting for me. It wasn't stable. We could be out of business. I could have no job in 6 months. That's a disadvantage to a small company. It's not as stable. But there will be better opportunities, I believe, to move up and get noticed. Big company, more stability, promotional opportunities, but maybe not as exciting sometimes.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good question. Thank you for asking.
I want to say, trying to talk to a foreigner and
Wow.
an honor. I think it's don't be shy, just try. It's hard to practice. I think more of us should try and take their chance.
Thank you. And thank you for trying. Hello.
Hi. First, I want to say thank you for giving us such a excellent speech.
Thank you.
For now, I have a question that you say that once you get a job, be patient and stay at least 2 years, right? But if I get a job that I don't like, or it doesn't be, it's not relevant with my with what I really want to do. I wonder if I should stay the position for at least 2 years.
Very good question, and a very common situation for people. Before you take the job, remember this is part of that inventory of what you want. And of course we're going to make mistakes. When I say 2 years, there are always special circumstances. My advice is if you're in a position where you don't like the company and you're really not happy with your duties and you want to change, talk to people. The network that you built. Email your professors, ask them for advice. Email some former managers, ask for advice and saying, what did you think I was good at? This is what I'm doing, these are the problems I have. What do you think? We want to just say, I don't like it, I'm quitting, I'm changing. Earlier I talked about that when I hire somebody, I make a decision very quickly. And I go with my heart or my gut instinct. I can't do that for every situation or every decision I make in my life. There's many times, if I make a decision, I'm making it and I don't have all the information. Information, knowledge is the best tool you can have in that situation. Ask your parents, ask some friends, saying, hey, have you ever had this problem? What did you do? Now, just because you ask doesn't mean you have to agree or do what they did, but just by listening, you're able to make a much better decision. So ask questions of people. Don't just make the decision by yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
Again,
Thank you.
I found your voice is so sexy and your smile is so shining, and your English very perfect. I like you very much.
Thank you. Well, I hope I speak it well.
I have a little question with what is success for you, and could you please give us youth some advice for changing our dream and success? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Excellent question. So this is more of a philosophical question. What is success to me? And this is me. Every one of us is going to have a different answer, and we should have a different answer of what success means. One thing that I've learned, and I was lucky, is that I've had some really great bosses. I've had some not so good, but I had some great ones. And the great ones really let me make mistakes. It cost them money, and they didn't fire me because they knew I was growing and learning. It was great. But the one thing I learned, his name is Bart Greenwood, former CFO of a company I worked at in America, who now unfortunately passed away. But Bart was great. He would just tell it very direct. And he would say, you spend your time and energy, you develop a process, and then you have to be consistent. And then success comes. So if your goal is money, 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 you're going to miss out on a lot of things. For me, I focus on the journey, on the process. I know that if I do things the right way, all the time, money, the success, that will happen. I'm confident in that. But that's not my focus. My focus is I want to do things the right way. The right values, the right decisions. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to be modest, and I want to be selfish sometimes, but I don't want to hurt anybody. It's okay to be selfish in a good way, because I want to make Joe happy. If Joe is happy, I'm much better for everybody else. So I focus on the process to get there. Now, success to me, I don't have a dream anymore, and I am divorced. So for me, wife, a family, this house, and great job, that was my dream out of college. It's not my dream anymore. I want to be happy every day. I love the little things in life. I love coming back to Hunan and having spicy food. I love sweating from the spice. That's great, because it's a lot of value. And the great thing that gives me a lot of joy is traveling. And you don't have to be rich. I am not rich. You don't have to be rich to travel. Traveling is by far the best form of education. So success to me is being happy, comfortable, being able to travel, learn every day. That's just me.
Hello, I'm Echo. I want to be a little bit different, so can I ask two questions?
No. Of course you can.
Thank you. First, I want to know your opinion about students' part-time job. Yeah. This afternoon, I quit my part-time job because I need to take part in a competition. Sometimes if you want to do better in your job, maybe you need to skip from your class. Or if you ask questions about teachers after your class, maybe you will be late for your job. So it's hard to balance for a college student. So I want to know your opinion about doing part-time job as a college student. Is this necessary for us?
The university. I want to be in this competition. Can I change a shift or can I change some days and work different hours? Can you help me with that? If they can't, then that's kind of it lets you know that maybe you should quit. But I never want to say quit or don't quit and force you to be miserable, but you choose how to manage your time, balance. Both, many things are important, but always ask questions.
And the second one, I'm not very much like a theory or something else. So, would you like sharing one or two interesting story or impressive story in your finding a job, in the process of your finding a job?
What a story of success for me,
Yeah.
how I found a job.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great question.
Thank you.
See, you're practicing already, asking great questions. Good job. Much of what I wrote and put together is me failing. If you read about successful business people, and please read, not just your textbook, but if you learn about successful people, many have failed, many have made mistakes. It's very easy for me to think about my worst job interview ever. It was with a rental car company in America called Hertz, and this is in Orlando, Florida. I was just married. I had the first interview, did very well. The second interview, I got along great with the manager. No problem. The next day I had to come back, I was meeting with his boss. And I said, I'm driving. I'm like, oh, I got this. This is no problem. I was very, very confident. I was too confident. And I got there, and the boss had really, he had no emotion, no positive energy. And he asked questions I did not prepare for. I didn't prepare at all because I was too confident. And I didn't know how to answer. And I know, as I'm saying it, I said, wow, I just sound awful. I knew, in my heart, I knew I was not going to get that job, and of course I didn't. But ever since then, the company I was telling you about, with this great CEO, I had been selling cars for a few years, and I knew that I had to better my career. I looked for other opportunities. And there was this company that, they were brand new. There was, I think, 5 people working there, including the 2 owners. Now, the 2 owners were guys who were millionaires, because they had built a company before, sold it, and were worth lots of money. But these guys, just talking, there's a phrase they use, down to earth. They don't act like they're rich. They act like a normal person. And so I was very comfortable, but it was a 2-hour interview with 4 people. That was difficult. But based on my failures, I did very well. And I knew when I left, and we all know, we don't need to wait, we will know if we did well or not. I knew that even if I didn't get the job, that these guys who had success, who know what it takes to run a very successful company, they were impressed by me. That was so important. And I did get the job offer, and I said, wow, these guys, these millionaires, they know what they're doing. I said and did something right, that they want me to help be one of the top managers to help them build a new company. And it was the best choice and experience of my career. So we will make mistakes. You will make mistakes. You will. It's okay. That's how we learn. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for your speech. I'm a student who will leave our university in May. What a pity. I love our university, yes. Now I have a question. There are two choices for me. One is the job as a teacher. You know, it's very honored, but I don't like it. My parents like it. The other choice is for car selling. You know, it's very exciting. You know, it's very exciting, but my parents don't think so. What a pity. I remember Abraham Lincoln once said, always bear in mind that only resolution to success is more important than endless. The importance in life is to have a great aim and the determination to attain it. I think as a car selling is my aim. But my parents don't think so. So this is my questions. How do I? Thank you.
So your question is not what decision to make. Your question is how to handle your parents. I can't answer that. Of course, my answer, part of it, I'm not part of your family, but I'm also, it's a cultural question, but it just, even our culture, we respect our parents. For me, with my family, this is how I'm going to answer the question. This is for me, because I don't know your situation, I don't know your family, I don't know your relationships. For me, I'm able to be very honest with my parents, and there's pressure. So I have pressure from my parents. Car sales is also a very pressure-filled job. It's great that you're talking about it and asking me. That's a tough one. I'm trying to be a little careful with my answer. In my experience, you make decisions based on what's truly best for yourself and what you feel in your heart. I've always had my best success when I made decisions from my heart. Even when I've gathered information, I still listen to my heart. And it's not always, your heart, for me, my heart is never wrong. I don't like what it tells me sometimes, and it's not easy, but I know what's right. And I'm sure your parents have nothing but the best wishes for you, and maybe they want more stability. Because car sales can be difficult, I know. But I also know that in sales, the best salespeople make the best teachers, and teachers make the best salespeople. So I'm confident no matter what decision you make, you're going to do very well. And I can tell you from being a teacher, I love it. I love teaching. It's very similar to selling. I am selling when I'm teaching. So don't be afraid of teaching. And I also want to say, this sounds like I'm coming from a very old person, but you don't know you don't like it unless you've tried it. So if you do make the decision that, okay, I'm going to go the teaching route, it's okay, it's okay. But whatever choice you make, have an open mind. Don't be doing, if you make the decision, don't say, okay, I'm just doing this because my parents want to. You make the decision, it's your decision. Be an adult, be responsible, say, okay, I accept this. Have an open mind. Then you might discover you like it and be surprised. that also happens. When we make a decision, we don't know everything, but have an open mind about it. That's the best, I'm sorry.
Hello, Joe.
Hi.
At first, thank you for giving us such a wonderful lecture. And then I have a small question. Being faced with the competitive market, how can we remove our working pressures in our spare time? Can you give some advice?
How to eliminate pressure in your spare time. How to relax.
Yes.
Absolutely. You're going to get together with your friends maybe 6 months after graduation. Your friends are going to say, oh, this is my salary. What's your salary? And you're going to say, oh, no, my salary's not as high. It doesn't matter. The only pressure that you should feel is from yourself. I know it sounds easy to say, but how do you choose it? The best advice in life is, what are some things you can control? Can you control your parents? Not really. Can you control what your friends say or what your friends do? No. Can you control the weather? Absolutely not. But you can control yourself. You can control your reaction to it. So we spend way too much time focusing on what we can't control. Focus on what you can.
Yes, thank you. I got it.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Lucy, and I have a question. If I have a job and I'm hardworking, but I find I'm not an important person, I feel upset. What should I do in a team?
So you're hardworking at a job, your boss never says good job to you, you feel like it doesn't matter if you're there. I can tell you from my experience, your boss does know. Sometimes even bosses are not good at communicating, but people will know. So in a situation like that, have an open mind about it. Don't rush to a decision to do something. And based on the culture and the relationship you have with your boss, now in America it might be a little bit easier at some companies to just, excuse me boss, can I talk to you for a moment? I just want to tell you my feelings. Don't say, I don't like this. I don't like when you do this. Stop doing that. We don't want to do that. We want to just say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. This is what I feel. What do you think? And just listen. Sometimes it's not easy. It won't be easy. But you can't control. Now, you can't control what the other people think or feel. But you're going to be surprised. Be patient. And the boss, many times it happens, the boss you think is a big jerk and doesn't like you, maybe in 2 years, there's a big promotion, and he selects you. You think, no way, he never likes me. And guess what? They will select you. It happens all the time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Joe.
Hi.
I'm a shy girl. In fact, every night I exercise in the exercise area in the northwest of the square. I always shout out my hatred, my anger, but it's no use. When I stand up, when oral class has begun, the English teacher start the topic, and I even can't have the courage to stand up and show my opinion. I always try, but it's useless. So, what's the real barrier for me to stand up and show my opinion? Can you give me direction and how to change it and be brave?
Well, first of all, thank you for your honest question and not being shy and telling us all how you really feel. That takes a lot of courage, so thank you. Many of us, I'm sure you are not the only one who feels this way. and again, I don't know everything, but I can tell you from my experience is that when we have lots of anger in so much of our lives, and we start to see things, like, if I can use, for example, your glasses. If we have glasses on and we're negative, the negative is on our glasses, everything starts to seem negative. We see everything as bad or wrong. We're not able to see what the good things are. There's many times where I've been very angry at everything. Nobody can do anything right. I know all the answers. I can't do this. And I used to be very, very shy and not able to talk. It took me a long time to understand, but the person I was most angry with, the person I had the least amount of confidence in, was myself. I thought I was angry at all these other things and all these other people. I was really angry at myself for not being able to talk, for not being able to have the confidence. I was mad at me. So once we kind of realize that, we have to start small. It's not, you just can't go like that and change it. It takes time, you have to be patient. A little bit every day. And relax. And remember, when you stand up in class, the teacher's not going to hate you if you make a mistake. It's okay. The most important part is just to try. Just like asking me a question in front of all these people is great. And you're going to benefit from that. Do it a little bit every day. I hope that helps.
Hello, I'm very glad to meet you.
Thank you.
I'm a little nervous and
Just relax.
excited.
Relax.
Thank you. Because that is my first time to listen to a foreign man speaking.
Wow, another one. Oh, I'm so honored. Thank you.
It is the first time to a foreign man speak 讲话跟一个外国人。
Anytime you get a laugh out of the crowd, that's great.
First, I want to ask you two questions. First, could you please tell me about your experience in China? Because I'm interested in you. The second question.
Wow, now I'm really going to sweat. Wow.
The second question, I want to know about your hometown because I want to come to America.
All right. Well, thank you for the being brave and very great questions. China. I'm going to make a mistake here. I'm going to try to speak Chinese. 我爱中国. Is China perfect? No. Is America perfect? No way. Is any place in the world perfect? No. What's most important for me are the people. Yeah, Loudi is small. Loudi has lots of garbage. The air is not very clean. That's another topic. Last time in 2009 when I was here, as I said in the beginning, I had a lot of problems with my body. I've had 9 surgeries. And it's made me a much stronger person. But so many people were so kind to me. When I left for America, and I was in tears when I drove away from the campus, I felt I was leaving one home to go back to another one. And it might seem like a big problem to have, to choose between 2 homes, but I'm very lucky to have that. So when I went back to America, and people would ask me about China, I said, well, they're kind of short. They're smaller than me. But their hearts are huge. That's why I came back. When I got better, I got healthy, and I had a choice. Stay in America, get a job with more money, but my heart was in China, so I came back here. And that's why, there's other reasons why I chose Shanghai versus to come back here mostly because of medical reasons. But I truly love the country. I do. It's because of the people. The people are what, and whenever I travel, I always want to see and meet people. I don't care about all the tourist things. I care more about the people. Second question was what? Sorry. Oh, my hometown. I was listening. What's my home? Anyone know my hometown? Remember?
America.
America is the country. Home state is Wisconsin.
A beautiful city.
A beautiful city called Green Bay. We have a very famous American football team called the Packers, which won the Super Bowl this last February, so I was very happy.
What's the Chinese name?
I don't know. The Chinese name is Green Bay. My hometown, by car, is 3 hours north of Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
My hometown is smaller than Loudi. But it's America, so the land is much bigger, but very few people. The climate is like Harbin, so in fact, my mother just emailed, they just had this much snow yesterday. And they've had this much snow all year. A record. So I'm very glad I'm not there, because we have to move it. We have lots of factories that make paper in my hometown, lots of cheese. And it's great. The summers, we have lakes where in the summertime you take your boat on the lake, and in the winter you drive your car, because the water freezes. It's a great area. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Chicago. My father's from Chicago. So if you do go to America, please email me if you're ever going to go to America. Email Dan. We can introduce people to you and help you, give you advice on where to travel for cheap. You have money. We will help you. Excellent questions.
Hello, Joe.
Hi.
Just like as you have said that confidence is very important, but
Most important.
yeah, that means most important. If one go for a job fire and he wants to show his confidence, he says that I'm good at this, I'm good at that, but actually he's not. He isn't good at this. So this means he's telling a lie. He is dishonest. So how to solve this problem?
Well, never lie. Because if you're lying, it's not real confidence. If you have to make up something or lie about something to feel better, then it's not real confidence. And you can have that opinion. You can think you're great at something and somebody else doesn't. That's okay. You're not lying sometimes. If that's truly how you feel, it's not lying. And that's okay. Now, I would recommend at a job fair or even an interview, you don't say that, oh, this is what I'm good at, unless you're asked. If they say, well, what's your greatest strength? Have an answer ready. Be prepared. And you don't want to, especially in front of an employer, you don't want to act like you're the best, that you know everything. How can you know everything? It's impossible. That means you're going to come into my company, you're going to know everything. People who have been working there for 5 or 10 years, you're going to tell them what to do. And they have more experience at certain things. Employers like a person who's confident, but also smart enough to know they don't know everything, who's going to come in to listen and still want to improve. Because many times, if we say, oh, I'm the best, that's too much confidence. That's called arrogance. We don't want to be arrogant. We want to be confident. Confidence knowing I'm very good at something, I like myself a lot, I love myself, but I know I can get better, and I want to always get better. I always think of the 86-year-old student. Always get better, no matter how good you think you are. So, don't lie.
Thank you. Hi, John.
Hello.
Nice to see you, and thank you for your wonderful speech.
Thank you.
My question is that As we know, as a graduate student, maybe you are under so much pressure from your parents or from yourself, and as this has been said to me, there are two kinds of people, students in the college. There are many people they just don't want to explore, so they attempt to test to achieve, to get the master's degree. And on the other hand, some just want to achieve their goals, so they attend that test to get the master's degree. So how do you think about the two kinds of attitudes? And do you think the degree is very important for us to find a good job? Thank you.
Thank you. Great question. Just like the question about certification, anytime you're different in a good way, it's always better. Now, what your motivation is for going to graduate school, that's only a question you can answer. If you're doing it because you're afraid of getting out into finding a real job, then the problem is with yourself and your confidence. But sometimes people, like myself, actually enjoy learning new things, and graduate school can be a great place to do that. As the market becomes more competitive, yes, graduate degrees become much more important. Because, again, me as an employer, if I've got 1,000 people want the same job, and 90% have undergraduate, and 10% have graduate, and everything else is the same, I'm going to probably interview the graduate students. I'm looking for something different in a good way. So, not a black or white answer of each person's motivation is different, learning is great. I would say if your only purpose in graduate school is only for the degree, only to get a better job, focus on some other things. Because to really appreciate graduate school, you should, and like I said, for me, it's about the journey, the process. I enjoy the learning part, and I become much better as a person that way by just taking it slowly. I hope that's the answer. Hi.
Nice to meet you, Joe.
Nice to meet you.
You know, today is not fine. It's raining outside.
It's a beautiful day.
But I also want to say welcome to Loudi. And your speech was quite good.
Thank you, thank you.
My question is, what do you think of the situation in Chinese competitive job market? And could you talk something about the difference of job situation between China and America?
Well,
thank you.
Thank you. Great question. I'm always trying to get more information on the Chinese market. The biggest difference between China and America is the population size. You simply have a lot more people than we do. Competition can be the same. The numbers might be a little different, but the pressures are pretty similar actually. We think we're very different, but we're more the same than we are different. We're similar in so many more ways than we are different. Differences are little. Most humans around the earth are the same. We really are. Even if our skin color or accent or language is different, most of us are pretty much the same. And we're all pretty good in my opinion. The Chinese market, the other biggest part of this is that we know what's happening in the world economy and the economic recession the last couple of years. And there's lots of factors, and I won't get into everything in terms of banking and real estate boom and all that stuff. China was able to avoid most of the recession. You're starting to feel a little bit of it now, but because your economy was changing and relatively young in this development the last few years, you were able to escape some of the things. You're not escaping now the increase in housing prices, which affects you as graduates, and you're thinking about going to bigger cities. Because you're going to need some money to pay for some of this. So the pressures are going to be the same everywhere. And in terms of how you look at it, study it. study, study every day. Read as much as you can about the economy in China, in America, in Europe, in Africa. What are things happening? One of the great things China was able to do is they could look at America or Europe and say, okay, 3 years ago, what are decisions their governments made? What did they do? Did it work or did it not work? And now China can do some and say, okay, they did this, it worked, let's try that. And the success can be a little bit better, hopefully. So that's one of the good things the government is doing about it. So have some faith and just read and research. That's all I hope that answers your question. I could, talking about the differences in the markets and all that, that could be a 5-hour speech. And so another time. Thank you. Excellent. Hi.
I'm Jen.
Nice to meet you, Jen.
It's my second time to talk to a foreigner. My parents told me my first attempt to talk to a foreigner is in my 3. I'm only 3.
Wow.
I just say hello to them and they hug me.
Excellent.
I want to ask you a question. I like English very much, but my major is law. So I don't know how to combine English with my major. I think in the future or in my work, English will not don't have its use. So I don't know how to connect my habits and my major.
Okay. Well, I can tell you in terms of, and Dan, why are all these people saying they never talk to a foreigner when you live here? You are going to use English in your job, in law. All of you will, at some point. Whether you like it or not, it's not my decision, but what's happening in the world, as the world is smaller now because of technology and traveling, and you have many foreigners now, new people coming to live in China, they have to find a common way to communicate, and that, as we say, by default is English. English is the way we communicate throughout the whole world. Now, I'm very lucky because it's my native language. So I'm pretty comfortable anywhere in the world because I can usually find someone who speaks English. So, but what's going to happen, and especially in law, there's going to be a need for this. Maybe not right away, but develop your law skills, keep practicing your English. You will travel if you want to. And you might have a client from Germany or a client from India that comes. Maybe they don't speak Chinese and you're not going to speak German or Italian, but you're going to both speak English. English is kind of be that middle language that helps us all. It's going to be a global language. I think, in my opinion, I think in 100 years the whole world will be speaking English, in addition to your native tongues. But it's just, and again, not because English is better, it's because that's the language that's out there right now. So I would look at it, you are going to use this. Even if it's not right away, and look for ways and research, what are ways I can do it? Look for a kind of law or law firm that handles international clients. Look for opportunities to use it. Don't wait for the opportunity to speak English. Create it yourself.
Hi, Joe.
Hi.
I'm very happy to see you again.
Thank you.
Maybe you forgot me, but I still remember you.
Well, thank you. And I will admit, I don't remember names, but there's something about that smile that I do remember.
I'm very happy to see you so healthy, so humorous, so shiny, standing here. Recently, I have read a book. It talks about students, graduates from university to step into the society to work. In the book, there's a new word appears in the book again and again. It's office political.
Office politics.
Office politics.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know. I know that you have experienced a lot. I want to know how do you deal with it. When I see it in the book, I'm very afraid of it. When I step into the society, I don't know whether I can stand it, whether I can deal with it.
Thank you for the question. You actually have lots of experience already with it. Office politics is just a fancy name for the relationships with your coworkers and the problems, and sometimes drama becomes like a soap opera. And you've had stressful situations with family and friends, right? So you have experience that. It's very similar. So office politics is a more informal name for it. So, oh, thank you. Yeah, I had the blood of a polar bear. Wow, yeah. I wish it was raining right here, right now. But you have experience with this, and it's how we handle with people, and whether they're coworkers. And yeah, it's very easy to get caught up if somebody is complaining. Oh, this is bad. My boss is bad, or or maybe some people will be threatened if you're very good at your job and they're not. They will want to keep you from succeeding. Don't worry about that stuff. It's many adults do act like children. It's true. It's sad, but it is true. And I'm guilty as well sometimes. But you do have experience with it. So these are little things every day. Are you going to join the conversation about complaining about something, or are you going to choose to say, you know what, I'm going to focus on my work, I'm going to read the book again. That's great that you're reading, by the way. So it's just a choice every day.
Thank you. I still have another question. It's about private question.
Okay.
You have told us you want to get a happy family. You want to find a girlfriend. You have talked with us about your marriage.
Divorce?
Your marriage, yes. Your marriage review. I want to know, have you found your another part?
My other half. Wow. It's an ongoing process. I have an open mind, and I've met lots of people. But the one thing I can say is that, yeah, there's times where I'm lonely, and I want someone to share my time with and be with. But I do know that what I've been through is very valuable and difficult, so I'm going to be picky. I'm not just going to date anyone just because it means I won't be alone. So don't settle for somebody. Be choosy. Don't worry about if you're approaching age 30 and you're not married. I know that's very bad in Asian culture. Don't worry about it. It's okay. It just means you haven't found the right person. Some of us find someone right away. And now in my experience in my marriage, we were two good people. We're good friends now. But we just didn't fit well together. So find somebody that you fit with. It's not going to be perfect every day. It's going to be difficult. But communicate as well. That's the best I can answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Joe.
Hi.
First of all, thank you for this splendid and wonderful speech in this news.
Thank you.
It's really a romantic rainy day. Second,
Yeah.
I want to please answer a question from a new student in college.
Okay.
What's the necessary quality to become a CFO in company? and how to develop this habit in university? Thank you.
Excellent question. And I just wanted to say I'm very impressed. Every question has been asked in English tonight. So your English is not poor. You just proved it to yourself and to me. What does it take to be a CFO? I've never been a CFO, so I can't give a 100% answer. But what are some things a CFO needs to do? Any manager or chief officer makes decisions, gathers information. So what you can do now is practice your research habits. CFOs deal with numbers, understand mathematics, understand relationships. No matter what job title, if you're a manager, if you're at a high level, you're going to be dealing with people. And that's the one skill. You can be great at math, you can be great at science, you can be great in computers. But at some part of management, you have to learn how to deal with people. And that is so critical. And so you start now with your relation with your friends, communicating, learning how to ask questions, doing some of the things I talked about every day, developing the confidence. And in terms of CFO, really one of the best things to do now is really reading the news on business. What's happening in stock markets, what's happening in the world economies, what's happening in Chinese economy, Hunan economy. And start understanding why did this happen. Study some of the history of it. Ask questions of your professors. Ask. Teachers are here for you. Teachers are a resource for you. Use them. Don't be afraid to go and ask them outside of class. You show that you're interested, people will appreciate that. And even if you're in class and you don't understand, if the teacher's talking about a financial concept, if some teacher's talking about English you don't understand, where I come from, you are not losing face by saying you don't know. Don't be scared to say, I don't know. That's okay. Because if I'm teaching, I don't know. If you don't say anything, I assume that you know, so I'm going to keep talking. But if you say, hey, wait, I don't understand that, great. And then I can determine as a teacher, maybe I need to speak with you later. But don't be afraid to ask questions. Thank you.
由于时间已经超过了预期的至少45分钟了，所以今天下一个问题是今天的最后一个问题。
Hello, George. My name is Loudi City from Economic Management Department, and I'm a Human Resources Management major. Now I have questions because nowadays university become just like a factory, make students like the goods, and the school just we care much about how to get a job in the future, and the two things of the university is to develop a person's personality, his ability, and there is a lot of aspect, but we just care about how to get a good job when you graduate. So this passion is strange, So I'm a freshman, but I can feel stress about how to get a job in the future because of the Chinese market is very competitive, and because there are a lot of people to compete in one job, and so what do you think about the situation nowadays?
Well, it's a situation that's not unique to China. It's happening all over the world. In my opinion, one of the reasons China is so strong now economically is because of the education. When I asked students, many students, especially like my adult students, many of their parents did not go to university, and all of them did. So the young generations are being educated, and that we're seeing a direct result in the economy and development of China. So it's a very good thing. So look at that positively. What I can tell you about college is from 17, 18 years old till 21, 22, you do a lot of growing, a lot of changes. For many, it's the first time you're not living with your parents. So now you have to make your own choices. So looking for a job is 3-4 years away. Be patient. Don't give yourself unnecessary stress, unnecessary pressure. You're not going to have a job interview tomorrow or the next 6 months, I'm guessing. Focus what's in front of you right now. And you really, it's all about you and how you look at it and your choices. Do I choose to have this pressure over me all the time? If I want, I can give myself so much pressure that I collapse. But I can't do that. So you're going to change, and what you like now, it's going to change in a year or two. And you're going to add some things, change some things. You're going to grow a lot. Enjoy your time here. Enjoy it. As a freshman, don't be thinking, oh, there's so much pressure for the next few years that all you worry about is pressure and you don't stop and enjoy your time here. Because once you leave here and go out into the real world, you're going to say, wow, I really missed the university. I wish I would have done this differently. So enjoy it now. Just focus on what's in front of you right now. Focus on your classes now. Little things every day. How can I ask questions, read? Just how can I become a better person? How do I develop my confidence? How do I learn to communicate? Develop your skills right now in college. Develop the skills that you will need. But don't give yourself pressure you don't need.
Thank you for answering.
You're welcome.
Hello, John.
Hi.
My name is Anne. I very like you and your speech.
Thank you.
I have a question to ask you. How long? No.
She's confident. She doesn't need that.
How long will you extend on your determination if you make a decision? I always can't persist my something too long. What should I do? Can you tell me?
So, let me see if I understand. So if you make a decision, how long before you change your mind?
Persist.
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 Well, you don't want to be stubborn. And this kind of goes to, yeah, we want to be confident and get as much information to make the best decision possible. And there's times where we have to stick with that decision. There's other times where we have to say, you know what, I'm still always willing to listen. And if there's truly a better way to do something, I have to be willing to change. And sometimes they think, well, if I change my decision, then it makes me look bad. But don't be, you always want what's best for me, what's best for the company, what's best for the school. So I hope I'm kind of answering the question. Don't be afraid to change your mind if it's truly the best.
I always change my choice.
Then, if you're always changing your mind, look at your process. What is your decision-making process? Get as much information. Ask questions from people, saying, "Hey, I'm having this problem. Have you had the same decision? What did you do? Did it work? Did it not work?" And then, just like about the jobs, you make a choice on a job. Don't quit after 2 weeks. Be patient. You're welcome. Thank you, everyone, very much. I'm absolutely blown away. I hope you learned something. I know I did. Have a good night.